your host on this channel. Continuing our discussion on understanding the planetary results in different houses of our astrological chart. In this video, we are going to have our discussion on what kind of results you can expect if we will find different planets to be placed in the ninth house of your astrological chart. So friends, before we will start our discussion, first we will try to understand what does ninth house represent. So as you must be knowing this thing, that when we talk about anything to do with the prospects of your luck, of the fortune, of true authentic knowledge, wisdom, your relationship with the teachers, with the mentors, with the gurus, with the role models, all those information we get from the ninth house. I always say this thing, if there is goodness in the society, if there is scope of improvement in human behavior, all of that can only be attributed to ninth house only. So definitely ninth house tells about your spiritual, your ethical, your philosophical, your religious belief and your views. Ninth house also is the house of the higher knowledge and learning. Now whether you talk about from the perspective of doing MBAs or PhDs or masters, or whether you talk about your capacity to imbibe all of that divine wisdom and knowledge. Ninth house, friends, also tells about your long distance foreign travels. So for anything to do with the foreign connection, your openness towards the different culture, a different belief, different viewpoint is something which is always seen from the condition of the planets in the ninth house. Just because, friends, I have mentioned this thing that ninth house is the house of luck, grace, your morals, your moral conviction and your good fortune. So this house has got so much potential that no matter which house lord is sitting over here, the signification of that house can actually experience good luck. So for example, if your second house lord is placed in the ninth house, your fifth house lord is placed in the ninth house, so the houses which the planet rules, even those houses can get this feeling of good luck or experience the divinity in their fruits. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say about the ninth house. Ninth house in terms of the living signification is the house of our ancestors. This is the house of our father. And everything to do with the religion is associated with this house. Your faith in divinity, how much a staunch worshipper you are, and your belief in your religion, your religious system, devotion towards the gods, all sort of pilgrimage which you will undertake, your attitude towards good deeds, helping people, charitable nature, compassion, scope of improvement, optimism, all of that is attributed to the ninth house of our astrological chart only. Now friends, let's say for example, if you will find planets placed over here. So try to understand this thing that planets represent the heavenly bodies. Planets embody different qualities and gunas. But if they are placed in a house, that means that house is providing them a functioning ground. And like the way I have already mentioned this thing that there is so much goodness which is hidden in the ninth house. So that means this house holds the potential to give good functioning grounds to all the planets. Now definitely in your life, ninth house might take a more importance if your important planets are going to be placed over here. If your ascendant lord is placed in the ninth house, which in general is considered as the very fortunate birth, or for example your natal moon is placed over here, your second house lord or the 11th house lord is placed in the ninth house, then that means that somehow a major signification or running around of your life is attached with the signification of this house. So okay friends, now let's say for example if you will find sun to be placed over here, so that can be seen as a very good sign, because as you know that in the original Kalpurush Kundli, this is the house which is attached with the planet Jupiter, and sun which holds good relationship, good friendship with Jupiter. In the planetary council, it's the sun only which is responsible for generating light. All the planets impact their influence in our lives, infuses their influence, bases the light which they receive from sun. So when we talk about from the perspective of receiving the true, pristine, authentic divine knowledge, so that potential tend to remain very strong. Because friends, just by looking at the condition of the ninth house, you can also get to know that what kind of gurus, teachers or philosophies or teachings a particular native is going to be attracted towards. Let's say for example, if you're going to have a very heavily afflicted ninth house, you might run into very manipulative teachers, or you might come in contact with mentors who might not have very good intention for your growth. So the point which I'm trying to make over here is that the mere placement of sun in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign for receiving good sort of divine, pristine, authentic wisdom and knowledge. This placement can also be seen as very good, that you might enjoy good relationship with the authority figures. The prospects of name, fame, recognition, your public image is definitely going to be divine protected all the time, because you know this thing that if you are going to get famous, there are all those people who might have ill intentions against you, people who would be trying hard to malign your image, just because your sun is going to be placed in the ninth house. And if it's going to be well placed over here, that can be seen as a very good connection, that your public image is going to be always protected. And let's say for example, if you're gonna take interest in publishing, in authorship, so creating some original authentic work can also be foreseen with this placement of sun in the ninth house. And strong connection with father playing a role model role in your life, guiding you, becoming not only your father but your teacher, your spiritual mentor and guide as well. From all of those perspectives, the placement of sun in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign. Moving ahead friends, now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of moon in your ninth house. So now friends, when we talk about moon's placement here, definitely this is also the house of travels. So with this placement over here, native might remain very lucky in having lot many travels in the lifetime. The second thing is that definitely with this placement, moon just tells about where our emotions, our feelings are attached in which specific area of the life. So with moon's placement over here, this might give native a very religious, spiritual, philosophical mindset. This also might give native a very strong emotional connection with people of religious significance or spiritual stature and all of that. Along with that friends, with moon's placement in the ninth house, mother might also play a very spiritual guides kind of role in native's life. So for anything to do with travel, for wisdom, for attainment of knowledge, and native being very religious minded, this placement of moon in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign. Friends, when we talk about the ninth house, the beauty of the ninth house is that it always gives a very broader outlook towards life, because that is the only reason we say the whole objective of the Karaka of the ninth house, which is Jupiter, is to give us expansion. And expansion cannot come in your subconsciousness, in your mindset, in your belief. If you are very close knit, tight knit in my orthodox beliefs, my viewpoints, unless and until you're not flexible, you're not open, you might not be able to progress in the path of spirituality or even in the path of religion. So the point which I'm trying to make over here is that with this kind of placement, it doesn't give native a very dogmatic view. It gives native a very accommodating, very optimistic viewpoint towards the world, towards the life. Moving ahead friends, now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the planet Mars's placement over here, which can be seen as a little bit sensitive sign, because friends, definitely in the original Kalpurush Kundli, ninth house represents the fire energy. So now the way Mars function is that Mars's way of making its viewpoint acceptable to other people is not through reason, is through force. So many times what happen is that it could give native very dogmatic, very opinionated nature, where native is going to have strong sense of like, dislike, my religious, my views, my philosophies. Native might be very firm in all of those areas of life. The good aspect of this placement is that definitely friends, ninth house also plays a very key role in the progress and development of our life, because it is one of the, like including 11th house, 9th house as well, is a very future oriented house. It gives a very broader outlook towards the life. So for being very goal oriented, very disciplined in life, strong morals, strong moral conviction, from all of those perspectives, this placement of Mars in the 9th house can be seen as a very good sign. And let's say for example, if native is gonna take interest or make his career in technical field or like in some sort of where lot of logic, problem solving, helping other people is involved, like becoming a cop, becoming a lawyer. So native might do very good in all these kind of profiles where you have to remain firm towards the side of the righteousness, goodness, and you have to defend and fight for other people. So even from all of those perspectives, this placement of Mars can be seen as a very good sign, and definitely a worship and devotion to the ferocious gods can be seen as a very good way of getting the best out of this placement of Mars in the 9th house. Moving ahead, friends, now let's say for example if you're gonna find the placement of the planet Mercury over here in the 9th house, that can be seen as a very good sign, because friends, like the way 9th house has a lot to do with the knowledge and wisdom. It is the house of the super consciousness, and when we talk about Mercury, out of all the planets, it's Mercury only which is very adaptable, very impressionable, very flexible, and Mercury has the most curiosity to get the knowledge. So with this placement of Mercury, if the energies of the Mercury is going to be working or functioning in a higher octave or domain, so then definitely friends, native could actually remain very lucky in whether in the form of the material world knowledge like degrees, PhDs, masters, expertise in different language, also in the form of acquiring good spiritual and divine wisdom and knowledge as well. Now friends, when we talk about authorship and publishing, so definitely 9th house has a lot to do with that. So native can also excel in all of these fields as well, and definitely friends, 9th house also has to do with like foreign influence as well. So interest in foreign culture, many foreign travels, interest in foreign languages, belief. So with this placement, this can be seen as a very good sign. Like with this placement, I have also seen many successful authors, writers, publishers with this placement of Mercury in their 9th house. Moving ahead, friends, now let's say for example if you're gonna find the placement of planet Jupiter over here, which can be seen as a one of the very good sign placement or house placement for planet Jupiter to be placed in. Definitely friends, anything to do with religion, anything to do with being very optimistic, and the beauty over here is that 9th house does not only have to do with the attainment of knowledge, wisdom, your connection, your relationship with the spiritual authorities, with the people of spiritual or religious significance. This house also has to do with the way or your capacity to counsel other people. Like obviously this is the house of teachers, of all the lecturers, philosophers, teachers. So not only like this placement of Jupiter is going to work on both sides, whether in the form of remaining lucky in acquiring good knowledge and also in the form of sharing it with the world as well, whether in the form of like many foreign travels, foreign connection, openness towards the viewpoint of other people, luck supporting you, fortune supporting you, because the mere placement of Jupiter in the 9th house is definitely going to help you in all different areas of the life, whether we talk about the prospects of your marriage, happiness on the account of children, overall growth, prosperity, optimism, degree of optimism, potential of improvement in your circumstances, in your life's overall progress. So from all of those perspectives, this placement of Jupiter in the 9th house can be seen as a very good sign. Friends, try to understand this thing, that right now we do not know in which sign Jupiter is going to be placed in. That is definitely going to have a say in which theme, in which style Jupiter's energies are going to manifest. But just being merely placed in the 9th house is going to give it a functioning ground. So no matter whether Jupiter is debilitated over here, it is placed in an enemy sign, in a way this placement of Jupiter in the 9th house can be seen as a very good sign for attainment of knowledge, sharing it with the world, support of luck helping you, and lot of divine potential can be seen with this placement of Jupiter in the 9th house. Moving ahead, friends, now let's say for example if you're gonna find the placement of the planet Venus over here. So now friends, as you know this thing, that Venus, which is the significator of the relationship management, Venus which is the significator of diplomacy, and Venus which is the significator of making very strong conscious choices regarding what is good for you. So now friends, the placement of Venus over here could also give you very good connection, strong relationship with teachers, with mentors, any sort of role models which you're gonna have in the life. The second thing is that because Venus, which is the significator of relationship, ninth house also has got a foreign culture and foreign influence over here as well. So because of which native might be well traveled person, native might be open towards different culture, different beliefs, different learnings. Along with that, friends, with this kind of placement, because like when we talk about ninth house, so from the seventh house, ninth house is the third house. So this also tells about the relatives on the side of your partner, so like your partner's relatives and all of that. So if you are gonna find Venus to be dignified over here, it might also give strong connection, a good harmonious connection, that if you are gonna get married, you might very easily adapt and adjust to your spouses or your partner's families. Along with that, friends, because Venus has also got very artistic creative touch as well. So a lot many people who become successful artists, but in their art, in their piece of work, you will definitely find the resonance of their culture, of their ethos, of their belief, of the gods they believe in. So like for example, even all of my work on YouTube and social media, that is definitely a manifestation of my art, but somehow you will all the time see the gods and my religious belief and everything being colored in the way I project my Venusian taste and qualities. So that is how you can see the Venusian qualities manifesting in the ninth house, whether from the perspective of relationship management, attainment of the knowledge, very harmonious, very open view towards different culture, different views, different belief. From all of those perspectives, this placement of Venus in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign. Like for example, if with this kind of placement, native is gonna take interest in teaching, running tutorials, becoming a professor. So native might become a kind of teacher who is going to be liked by all of his students and faculties. Moving right, friends, now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of the planet Saturn over here. So now, friends, definitely it's very obvious. Saturn being placed over here, ninth house, also has to do with your philosophies, with your belief, with your values. So native might become very orthodox, very strict, very disciplined, kind of little bit narrow-minded in his belief, in his value system. The second thing is that, friends, try to understand this thing. Like, I don't know why people do not like Saturn when we talk about attaining something very big, very concrete, and actually commanding respect and honor in the society. Sun might give you a fame for a short term, might give you a designation or political seat of power for a short term. But when we talk about all those people who attain and maintain those positions, that respect, they command that honor and authority and respect in the society, all those things come from the planet Saturn only. And when we talk about the knowledge and the teachings of the planet Saturn, that is something, not only those teachings have got a spiritual connotation, our spiritual growth and elevation, but at the same time they are very practical in today's day-to-day life and our material world as well. Many times what happens is that the Jupiterian philosophies might be very good for your spiritual elevation, might be very good for your soul, but it might not sound very practical in the way we have to maintain our ties and relations in the world. But when we talk about Saturn, Saturn's teachings, philosophies are very grounded, very realistic in all planes, in all dimensions. So the point which I'm trying to make over here is that in old age, the best result is definitely going to manifest. So if you actually want to experience the nectar of the luck and fortune supporting you, you might have to wait till second half of life. Now, when I say second half, so it's not like you have to wait till turning 50 or 60, even at least till 36 is the time when Saturn matures. So that is going to be the time when whatsoever you might have gone through in the early half of the life, you will get to know that Saturn was actually teaching you with the practical life experiences. So that is the only reason, trust me, if you actually want to have a role model or if you want to get a guide or a mentor, so look forward to someone who is strongly Saturnian driven. So this is how the energies of Saturn is going to manifest over here. Apart from that, when we talk about the religious views and ethical views and philosophies, definitely they are going to be like native might have strong interest in the history, in the ancestry, about the the tradition, the cultures, but native might not be very much open towards the other culture and belief as well. So that is how you can see the result manifesting with Saturn's placement in the ninth house. Now when we talk about from the conviction perspective, from your discipline perspective, from your ethics, your morals, your work style, your attitude, definitely the placement of Saturn over here can actually make someone who is very dependable, someone who is very trustable, and someone who is very strict, very disciplined in his life. Moving ahead, friends. Now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of the planet Rahu over here. So definitely friends, the true nature of Rahu is of a rebel. So with this placement of Rahu over here, it might make native rebellious in his own religion, and it might give native more interest and more inclination towards the foreign teachings, foreign guru, foreign culture, which might prove to be a boon for native if someone with this kind of alignment and other supporting factors. If native is going to relocate to a foreign land, native might remain very lucky in adapting and adjusting himself to the foreign culture. The second thing is that definitely friends, like ninth house is not only restricted to the spiritual knowledge only, religious knowledge only. This is also the house of a higher studies as well, lot of foreign travels and exploration. So with this kind of placement, definitely native is going to be more believer of creating his own luck. And let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of Rahu in the Mercury signs or Venusian signs in the ninth house, native might remain very lucky, very optimistic in the matters of financial or money management as well. And friends, when we talk about anything to do with research, all the new age sciences, excelling in them, being able to attune and understanding the pulse of the masses, from all of those perspectives, this placement of Rahu in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign. Moving ahead friends, now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of Ketu over here. So now friends, this can be seen as a very psychic alignment or placement of Ketu over here, and the tendency and potential of some karmic energy being attuned with the soul or connected with the soul is going to go more higher if you're gonna find the Ketu to be placed over here in any of the Jupiterian signs. And let's say for example, important planets, specifically either luminaries or the ascendant lord like either sun, moon or ascendant lord to be connected or conjunct with Ketu in the ninth house can be seen as a very good sign. Native might also remain lucky in reaping the fruits of all the good deeds done in the past lifetime. Native might also remain lucky in accessing the talents from the past lifetime. Along with that, very perfectionist approach towards religion, religious philosophies. And when we say that, in many cases what happen is that native might be born as like some ancestor, a grandfather, great grandfather being reborn in the same family. So a lot many ways this placement can manifest its very mystical results being placed in the ninth house. And definitely friends, with the Ketu's placement in the ninth house, like definitely in order to become an astrologer, in order to become a numerologist, you need strong Mercury. The calculation aspect need to be strong. But when we talk about becoming a clairvoyant, becoming a Reiki healer, becoming a tarot reader, so when we talk about becoming a successful medium, so with this placement of Ketu in the ninth house, you might also remain lucky in doing very good in all these mystical psychic phenomena and fields as well. Moving ahead friends, now let's say for example, if you're gonna find the placement of Uranus over here. So definitely friends, the mere placement of Uranus just tells about that native is definitely going to be very much inclined towards foreign culture, foreign environment. Native might also have a very out of the box way of looking at religion and the cultural beliefs and all of that. Now friends, when we talk about Uranus's placement, definitely it also comes down to whether Uranus in the ninth house is conjunct with other inner planet as well, in which dignity that planet is placed in. Depending on that, we can come to this conclusion that definitely native is definitely going to be more inclined towards foreign culture, and native might also remain very lucky in getting lot many travels, lot many exploration in this lifetime. Moving ahead friends, now if you're gonna find the placement of Neptune over here, so definitely friends, Neptune's placement over here can be seen as a very mystical, can be seen as a very psychic placement over here. Now like the way I have already mentioned this thing, Neptune at the time when we were discussing the results of Ketu being placed over here. With the placement of Neptune in the 9th house, it can actually make you a very good psychic, very good clairvoyant. Like, you would not believe, sometimes what happens is that your intuition, your epiphanies, realization guiding you, and this is how your life hovers around. Like, while being in any crossroad of the life, your gut feel, your intuitive faculties are always pushing you, guiding you in the right direction. And all those people who become successful, fantasy writer, successful photographers, all of that, all those profession, occupation, being very imaginative, being very dreamy, being very attuned towards your soul spiritual growth, from all of those perspectives, this placement of Neptune in the 9th house can be seen as a very good sign. It might also give a very strong connection with the spiritual guide or mentor or teacher or life coach you're gonna have in your life. And lastly, friends, if you're gonna find the placement of Pluto over here. So now, friends, Pluto is a very extreme energy, but I have always seen this thing that when we talk about these outer planets, it becomes very important that what role are they playing in your chart, in your life? Are they conjunct with other other of your inner planets only? So for example, if you will find Pluto to be placed in the 9th house and it's conjunct with Rahu, or if Pluto is placed over here, it's placed and conjunct with Mars or Saturn, so then the Pluto qualities or whatsoever I'm going to say over here is going to get more strong, more intense. But individually, friends, definitely Pluto, which signifies extremities, extreme transformation and all of that. So in terms of native's obsession with his religion or his transformation through religion, through belief, can be seen as very strong with this placement of Pluto over here. And definitely, friend, strong convictions, strong morals, strong ethics, and strong likes and dislikes can be foreseen with this placement of Pluto over here in the 9th house. The point which I'm trying to make over here is that if you will find the energies of Pluto to be working on a higher dimension over here in the 9th house, it can actually make native very disciplined, very futuristic and future driven in his life. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs for the placement of various planets in the 9th house of your astrological chart. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.